Hi guys, today we are going to discuss the poem Fire and Ice from the book First Flight of Class 10 CBSE English. It's very easy poem, short poem, not too long, but it carries a very big and deep meaning with it. So, in this poem, fire means desire means our wishes, and wishes are not that important. They are important at a level. Ice means hatred, ignorance. So, before starting the poem, let us go to the summary of the poem. So, in this poem, the poet has presented two opposite views about the end of the world. So, in this poem, poet, who is poet? In this poem, the poet is Robert Frost. And you might have known the poem The Road Not Taken of Class 9 CBSE English. So, the poet has presented two opposite views about the end of the world. So, in this poem, poet is discussing about the end of the world, how the world would end. And he has two views, two opposite views. The poet discusses the two possibilities regarding the end of the world, and in this poem he has two views about the end of the world, and the poet has discussed about the two possibilities. One possibility is the world ending in flames of fire due to the desires. So in first case he says that the world may end in the flames of fire, means the world could end due to the wishes of the people. It might. These desires for money. So, what are the wishes of the people? That is for money, power, and so on. Will soon hurl the world into another nuclear war. Hurl means end up the world, which will burn the entire world into flames. So, what is the first possibility? The first possibility is that the world can end up in fire, that is the desires of we people. And then the second possibility of the poet is that is due to ice. So the second possibility of the end of the world is with ice. Do means end. So secondly, the second possibility according to the poet is that the world can end in ice. Ice means what? Ice means it's all about the ignorance, hatred. The poet feels people have so much of hatred in their hearts against one another. Actually, this happens between two friends and even between anyone. It can happen. People usually have hatred among one another, and this hatred is sufficient enough to freeze the entire planet to the death. So he says that only this ice is also enough to end up the world, because ice can freeze up the things. So poet says this ice can also end up this world. So finally he concludes that both the desire and hatred can end up the world. So poet says that both desire and hatred, our wishes and hatred, ignorance, can also both of them can end the world. So let's begin with the poem Fire and Ice, written by Robert Frost. So some say the world will end in fire, some say in ice. So usually people say that the world can end up in fire, and some others say that people can end up in ice. And then, from what I have tasted of desire, this means poet think that the world would end up in desire due to the wishes, and this thing he has experienced. Tasted means he has experienced himself in any circumstance of his life. I hold with those who favor fire. Poet favors those, means poet is with those who say that the world would end up in fire. But if it had to perish twice, perish means end up. But the poet says that if the world have to end up two times, then I think I have enough of fate. Then he says that he is having enough of fate. He can be favored with ice also. To say that for destruction ice, then he says that if the world would end up twice, then both fire and ice are enough for the end of the world. Is also great and would suffice. He says that he knows that fire is sufficient for end of the world. But at last he says that if the world have to end twice, then ice is also sufficient for the end of the world. So let's look at the meanings. What were the meanings? So desire means wishes, perish means end, desire is wishes, perish means the end of the world or end of anything, suffice means sufficient or enough. So nowadays this is how your surroundings look. Now hate is getting more and more. So stop doing hatred. That's what I can say you. And this was the poem.